Hello, my friends. My name is Adam, and I'm on a quest to be the most prolific reviewer of all time. And today I'm going to review two podcasts from Mike Duncan because I think that they're connected. One is The History of Rome, and the other is the Revolutions podcast. And I have to say that I was just reading the Wikipedia entry for Mike Duncan, and I think it's just, it's really well written for a Wikipedia article. I could probably just read it here and then you'd get a really good understanding of who he is, but in my own words and not to plagiarize. Mike Duncan, I think, is one of the most influential people in English history podcasting because he has had an effect on every important history podcast that has come out since 2007. His was one of the very first history podcasts, The History of Rome, and he created it because he felt that there wasn't any good podcasts about the history of early Rome, ancient history, basically. So he decided to do it himself. And then that podcast ran for, how long did it run for? Until 2012. And it says it's been downloaded more than 100 million times. I'm sure the number is a lot higher now because it does give you a really compact understanding of the history of Rome and the important things. And I listened to it a long time ago, so probably I don't remember the specific details, but I'm sure there are things that I have absorbed from it because Mike Duncan, so why he's so influential is not just because he was the first, it's because he creates a story out of historical fact that feels like fiction and it's entertaining to listen to while being informative. And I think other history podcasts, some of them don't do that very well, so that's why they fail ultimately to succeed as a podcast. So if we think about the history of Rome, it was in the beginning. It's weird to think because I know it's weird that 2007 is a long time ago, but it's actually about 20 years ago. Oh, time, you cruel, cruel moon-faced killer of joy. um, so yeah, so 2007 was the beginning of podcasting, actually. And so, from a technical aspect, there's a lot to be desired from those early episodes, but technically he gets better and better. And as I said, his grasp of what makes a good narrative has always been perfection. And so if we thought about like that podcast as a book about Rome, it probably would be this big. You know, a hefty title about Rome. And then his next podcast that I'm going to review is called Revolutions. And the revolutions that he covered were the English Revolution, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, the Spanish-American Wars of Independence, the July Revolution, the revolutions of 1848, and the Paris Commune, the Mexican Revolution, the Russian Revolution, and a bit of speculative fiction called the Martian Revolution, which I'm in the middle of and is actually really great because, as I said, he's really great at telling a story with nonfiction. So he's really great at telling a story with fiction as well. But I think the thing that really is great about him, apart from the fact that this is very, very, very important, like very entertaining. The thing, like, so I knew kind of what happened in the English Revolution, and I knew kind of what happened in the American Revolution, and I kind of knew what happened in the French Revolution. And I'm not like a hardcore history person, but like I do like history. So, but I think that the gaps in my knowledge, this podcast was able to rectify. So the Haitian Revolution, I didn't know anything about. The Spanish-American Wars of Independence, didn't know anything about. July Revolution, the revolutions of 1848, and the Mexican Commune and the Mexican Revolution, all, so about 80% of the revolutions he's covered, I didn't know much about. And the revolutions that I did know, I didn't know everything about it. And so he has, what is it? 39 episodes about the Russian Revolution. So if we were going to take, so I said that the History of Rome, if it was a book, would be like a hefty title, like this. But if Revolutions were a book series, it would be like one of those really, it would be like Churchill's History of the Second World First. I don't know. I don't know which one, but it's one of those old impressive history tome series where you have like Volume 1, The English Revolution, Volume 2, American Revolution, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as it goes along, and your library is filled with these beautiful, beautiful books. So that's what the podcast feels like. It's a library full of beautiful, well written, well researched, and entertaining books to read. And so he has another podcast called the Duncan and Co. History History Show, and I have listened to a couple of episodes, but I can't really give you an opinion about that in this review, because as I said, I've listened to all of the History of Rome and all of the Revolution. Well, not all of the Revolutions podcast. I'm in the middle of the Martian Revolution part, and he also has some books that I'd like to read. The one is The History of Rome, Volume 1. Then there's The Storm Before the Storm, and Hero of Two Worlds about Marquis de Lafayette. So apart from the influences on history podcasts I've mentioned, the Wikipedia article also mentions the history of Byzantium. Of course, that's a history one. The history of philosophy without any gaps is another. Apparently, the script for Star Wars The Last Jedi was inspired by Mike Duncan's storytelling style, and that's probably one of the better sequel in the that's the one before everything goes bonkers in the sequels of Star Wars. And actually Andor was an influence, Revolutions was a influence on Andor, so people consider Andor to be like one of the greatest Star Wars television things. So you can blame or praise Mike Duncan. And he's also known for the quote, the entropy of victory. So basically, when everybody is enthusiastic after a revolution, like the revolution slowly starts to eat itself. So that's what happened with the French Revolution, what happened with the Russian Revolution as well. So as you can tell, I really like Mike Duncan's style. I would recommend that you check him out. You check out his podcast, and it just fills in the gaps so much as to what is actually out there that I think that you will be quite surprised by how much you didn't know about history and how much you enjoy it. And I just had this thought in my mind, like, would you enjoy it if you didn't like history? I think, yeah, maybe. Maybe. I think it's a good way. Like, if you're out for a run and you're listening to music, why not listen to a history podcast? And why not one of them. And I would probably start with the Revolutions podcast. And the thing is, it's like an epic binge. It's like binging the, I don't know, when you go back and you decide you want to watch some television show from when the era when they had like 25 episodes per season and they had 8 or 12 seasons, which I did with Smallville. So it's like an epic binge, but it's worth it. It's worth it. You'll learn a lot more. Although Smallville, very enjoyable show, but you'll learn a lot more about the world and history of it by listening to this podcast. Yeah. All right. If you like what I do, if you like my reviews, please give me a like and a subscription, a YouTube subscription. Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 900 subscribers by the end of April, and currently we reached our target for March, which was 800 subscribers. So thank you very much. And if you like Mike Duncan and you don't like Mike Duncan and you disagree with my opinions about it, please put it in the comment section, because that helps the algorithm and helps other people find my opinions. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.